Hey everyone, good morning. It's telling me to rotate my device. Okay, why do I have to do that? Go figure. Hold on for a minute. I don't know why I got that in the middle of my thing. There we go. Alright, so it popped off. So, popped on again, and this is very annoying. So, anyways, as you can see, I kind of just woke up a little bit, and I'm just laying here, just relaxing. Uh, I haven't been on for quite some time. I'm not on here to really get famous or anything. I just like to get on just to give people some advice and stuff about what it's like. I work at two jobs now. I finally got hired at a horse company called Pet Sitting Care, which is really amazing. People look at me and say, "Oh my gosh, um, you used to do horses?" And I always say, "Yeah, I used to do horses. Not like that, like used to work with them 25 years ago. I'm quite young still, not as young as I look, but yeah, I'm still young considerably. A lot of older people say I'm still young. So, anyways, working at the airlines and working with horses are two big leaps, two big steps. I think I was on here a while ago and I talked a little bit about how it was working with the airlines, and I think people should be informed on it. I'm gonna start off again with that. So, working with the airlines, I work with a big company called American Airlines, which I absolutely adore. I think all the companies are pretty good. They rank at different areas, and they rank upon the liking of the customers and the employees. Oh, excuse me, tired. So my whole thing is that how I heard about it. Don't quote me. I mean, my company would probably get mad if I say this, but I hear it was like the top one to work for that people adore a lot is Southwest. I guess they're good with their benefits, and they're called considered a love airline, and I guess they say it like that is because they hire the spouses and the co-workers and stuff like that. So I guess that's why people try to get in there, and it's quite hard, to be honest. It's not easy to get into an airlines. um it's easier if you know people versus if you don't or have no experience, which to me any job is like that. They always want you to have experience, but not always you can get that experience unless if you go through a trade or something or an internship to get you into that phase. Or it could just be luck, or if you have the best way to get into it is if you have some military background, or if you worked in a federal or a state organization. Most likely they'll snag you really quickly versus if you just didn't have the experience at all. But there's some people out there who don't have the experience at all and manage to get in, which is awesome. It's hard work. I work for their sister airlines, which is a part of American Airlines, but it's also called Piedmont. And there's a lot of ones like Envoy. Is it Envoy or Envoy? I might have said it wrong, but Air Wisconsin, all those different things. They merge with these other airlines like Delta, United, American, and it gets merged on, and so on and so forth. It's hard. It's hard work when you work for a smaller airline than mainline. We call it mainline due to the mainline is actually you get paid through American, you are American. When you work through their sister line like Piedmont, you are considered American, but you get paid through Piedmont. That's the same thing with all the other airlines. Like I said, Envoy. I don't know if I want to say it Envoy or Envoy. I don't know. People say it two different ways. I guess maybe if you're down south, you say one way, and if you're a New Englander, you say another way. I don't know, but they're the same way. They merge with whatever. We used to be U.S. Airways, and then we merged and we became American Airlines. So I mean, it is a whole like system of it. Some places, I think, like I said, Southwest didn't buy out. I think Southwest has always been Southwest, and they haven't brought out other little airlines to merge with them. I think they might have one. I think. I don't know. I'm not sure. I heard it from word of mouth, but you know, when you hear things from the word of mouth, it's not always accurate. My mom always say, "Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see," kind of thing. So, anyways, to continue on to this, I worked for them, and then I need another job because we were fighting. I'm part of a union representation too. I work at the union, which kind of is great. It's awesome. You get a lot of information, you meet a lot of people. But let me tell you something with the union, it's a lot of hard work, and sometimes it depends on what kind of company you have. It can kind of go for you and it kind of can't. So that's another story to talk about. But me being a part of all that, I wasn't getting paid much. Oh, that's again. Sorry, just kind of woke up. I wasn't getting paid much, and we were fighting for a higher raise, a higher tax bracket, because when people see you working for a major organization, it could be anything like Pepsi, Lay's, I mean, all these different places, they say, "Oh, you get paid really well," and most of the companies, don't get me wrong, they do pay well, but in this case, we weren't getting paid well. I think we were getting underpaid for all amount of work that we did. So we finally had cut a break, and we're getting paid somewhat decent. Not totally, but decent. I mean, it's still to me, because of living where I live, the bracket of the higher living, I think just to afford an apartment to live in is like $5,000 and up just to maintain a decent living. And if you're and here, they're still kind of making people not get that type of wage. They're slowly increasing it, which I don't understand that. Because people need to live. It's not just, I don't understand. Like, they want us to work, but how are you going to live? And that's why everything's out of whack and the poverty levels are so high, because the companies are not really paying out. But being said and done, our company started paying out something, an incentive, and back wages and stuff. So hopefully all that works well, but it still wasn't enough for my living costs, because I live in one of the, like, an expensive location, not because I wanted to, it's because it was closer to college and everything for me. So that being said, I had to get another job. So I guess, call it fate, call it luck, call it God. um I was on Facebook, which I'm a big Facebooker. Always on Facebook a lot. Not because my family's on there mainly. I Everybody who I come across and know, like, I literally know everybody who's on my Facebook. I could tell you who they are, where I met them, and how it is. So I just don't. I'm not that type of person that just adds people like, "Oh, here you go. Oh, this person likes me." If I don't know you, I'm not adding you. That's just how I roll. But I found it on Facebook. Facebook has created this really cool app where you could find jobs, because people are having a tough time. Before, it used to be Craigslist. There's another one, Angie's List. Newspapers are becoming obsolete. So Facebook has decided to create this, like, really cool, awesome app where you can go on there and you can look for jobs. So I'm getting that word out there, which is really cool. And it's a listing of all of the jobs in your area and out of the areas. I mean, you can all over the place. Depending on, sorry, what to get. Depending on where you live, I guess that's how they determine. Maybe it's like satellite or something. Well, anyways, I found this really cool job with horses, and this guy is really, really awesome, my boss. And excuse me again. This guy's really, really, really awesome. So he was, I explained to him I haven't been around horses for a long, long time, and getting back into it. Let me give you guys a rundown of what I used to do. Uh, there's this major place. One of the universities when I was younger, I used to correspond with, and they owned over 50 acres of land, maybe more. It was a major university, and one of the top, like probably the third or the second in my tri-state area. So they taught me how to work with a lot of the animals, like you would say farm animals. I say livestock. Livestock is actually the proper way to say it, because people don't look at it as farm animals. They look at it more as livestock. That's how we get our meat, produce our meat, and have it on a table that you guys eat at. I mean, that's like one of the most prominent jobs, I think, out there, besides the medical field, besides being a police officer, besides being a fireman. Being in livestock is a very, very good job, and people don't realize how good it is, because we're always looking for food. We're always eating. I mean, that's just a prominent thing. So, anyways, the livestock situation, I worked with cows. I worked with equine horses, which that's the proper way to say equines. Horses, chickens, pigs, goats, sheeps, you name it, turkeys. I mean, for Thanksgiving, how do you think you're going to get those turkeys delivered to your national stores? Well, yeah, they got to prep those up. I mean, I was the one who would hook them on to these like little hooks. I know it sounds brutal, but I'm going to say it. And if you guys are animal lovers, please just close your ears. I'm an animal lover too, but it is what it is. I mean, some people are vegans, some people are vegetarians, other people are meat eaters, and I'm a little bit of both. I'll eat everything, not everything, but generally I'm up to trying anything. So we would hook the chickens. We'll take them out of the cage. I meant not chickens, turkeys, sorry. We'll take them out of the cage, hook them upside down, zap their neck, cut their neck, drain them, then dip them in hot scorching water, then take them to a defeatherer. It's like a machine that goes around with brushes really, really fast to strip all the feathers off of them. Then it goes from there onto a metal table that's clean and sterilized, and in a whole room with nothing but, like, I guess a tile floor or cement floor with drains in the middle of it. And they just chop up the certain pieces, wrap them up, put them in a thing, and they're shipped off to delivery. And then they wash and sterilize down the tables, and that's how you guys get your food. Plain and simple. I mean, people don't realize that, but that's how it really goes. I mean, there's nothing to that, but people say, oh my gosh, that's inhumane, and then people who are listening to this will be all squeamish, and I said, hey, it is what it is. I mean, you guys look at the end product when it comes to you at your table, but you don't know how it actually starts. And it's quite interesting to me. That's interesting because I like to know where my food came from. I like to know how things are produced. People are calling me. I like to know how something is, like, I like to know why it functions, how it functions, and how it got there. That's me. So, cows to cows, I used to artificial inseminate them. Yes, I said it. I don't care. I'm pretty proud of it because it's really cool. Um, it sounds gross. People will make fun of me about it. I don't care, because you have to understand it's a way of life. We produce, they produce. Sometimes we can't. People say, why don't they produce naturally? It's not the fact they don't allow them to produce naturally. A lot of these animals get hurt when they produce naturally, like the horses, the males, um, oh god, the mares. I would say the mares, when they mount the females, they hurt them. They hurt them with they bite them, and they, you know, use their little hoofs and whatever, and it lashes up their skin. So it's like, to prevent a lot of these horses and a lot of these animals, even cows, from getting hurt, people do it themselves. And and it's not like we're going in there and touching any personal parts. Just like, ooh, horses, they have a wall in between the mare and the female horse, and they just put the female horse in front of the mare, and he gets very, very excited, and then that's how they collect the specimen from the mare. And he bucks at the wall. I mean, if you see it, you'd be like, wow, if you let him on that horse, he would have tore that horse up. like tore it up from the floor up to the ceiling. Like you wouldn't even probably have a horse anymore. The horse would have to be bandaged, medical procedures, everything, because that's how excited they get. They just, So that's how they do it. When you artificial inseminate a cow, you use a big long rubber glove. It goes from I don't know, short. I'm short, so I have to step on a stepping stool. You have to get up on a stepping stool because the cow is actually a lot taller than you are, unless if you're as tall as a cow, which I've never really seen too many tall people taller than a cow, but whatever. So you put this long rubber glove on from your hand all the way to your shoulder blade. It goes all the way up. Actually, mine went up to my neck. And they give you your it's like a syringe, and then you have to go inside, and it feels like your arm's getting literally twisted off, like someone's just giving you loogies on your arm. Like it hurts, but it doesn't hurt to the point where you're like in a lot of pain. It just feels like someone's just twisting your arm around. It's really weird. But anyways, I used to do that. Eggs, shear sheep. Used to go to the Big E's. People don't probably know. People who do know about the Big E, it's a major fair in Massachusetts. Like, it's so big in the US that a lot of people go there, and a lot of people show their livestock off, or their show horses, or their cattle, or their chickens, or their sheep, and you get money for that. Actually, if you place in, like, I think the top 10, it has to be the top 10 for a lot of stuff. Even I also worked with plant science, like growing plants and horticulture. That's the proper way to say it. Horticulture is everything to do with plants and growing and showing. People bring plants there too, and they actually win certain things. And I was a part of the organization called FFA. It was the Future Farmers of America. I don't know what it's called now. I think they changed it because, like I said, a lot of people didn't want to be based off of just farming. It's just livestock alone. So, I'm just really happy that um, I was really happy that was able to get a chance. Here goes the rotating thing. I was able to get a chance to go back to something I enjoy as well. So I'm working from the planes where it's stressful, busy. You only have so much time to get planes out and this and that, to something that's a little bit more calming. I mock stalls. I guess he'll have me brushing, grooming, feeding the horses, definitely. It's just something just I love doing, and something that's just well maintained. What is that bothering me back there? Oh, that's nothing. So, like I said, I enjoy what I do. I know it's different. Like I said, I don't get that many viewers or followers. I'm not on here for all trying to get 30,000 hits and 5,000 likes or subscribers or anything. I was getting some people viewing my page little by little, but I kind of slowed down a little bit on it. I'm going to get back on here once in a while and just like to talk and just to let you guys know about different things, because my life is pretty interesting, considering, I think. It's not that boring. If you only knew. That's just the basics of that all, but I like doing what I do. Like I said, it's quite rewarding, and I think now that I'm going to school for business, but now I think that I may turn that into a whole nother area if I can get into an animal science or an animal school. Tufts is very hard. They say that a lot of these colleges are really extremely hard to get into or extremely expensive. But I mean, what school isn't expensive? What school isn't hard to get into? So if I could find something that works for me, I would, because like I said, that's a good industry if you love animals and if you don't mind doing the dirty work, and that's pretty much what it is. It's like you do the dirty work, you get paid well, because no one wants to do it. Like, working for the city for the sewer, or working for the city for removing trash and stuff. People like, oh, I'll never. But those are like the well commended jobs. I mean, yeah, I can't deal with the trash and stuff. I think that's just too many smells and too much going on, and I know it's like a lot of hard work, but I know people who rank in, like, they bring in like 2 grand a week or whatever. I mean, those are just jobs generally people just don't want to be dealing with. It's amazing how the cleaner the job is, the harder it is to get in, but you have to have like tons and tons and tons of degrees on top of it. Where the dirtier the job is, the easier it is to get in, and you don't have to have high standards, because it's a job that is not well liked, and a lot of people don't want to do it. And I mean, believe it or not, I mean, at some point, I commend people who don't mind doing dirty jobs, because you look at that person and you're saying, you know what, it's human nature. I mean, just like being in the medical field, it's human nature. I mean, the blood, the guts, the biohazards that come out of your body. I mean, all that stuff, it's all human nature. And people squeamish about that. Like, oh my gosh, you can't touch blood. I'm like, dude, you have blood streaming through your body. I mean, if you had 10 of you or 20,000 of you out there who don't want to touch blood, how are we ever going to have operating rooms or surgical procedures because people are afraid of blood? Like, I mean, I don't know. If it was up to me, if I had the talent, I would work in the morgue. We had a conversation on our job working in a morgue. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, people just can't hack the bodies being being leaked out, put in the bombing fluid, the things that they have to do, the sew to make the facial recognition for all these people. I mean, people don't people can't deal with that, and to me, I can deal with that. That doesn't bother me at all. um it's actually pretty it's not the fact it's pretty neat, but it's just it has to be done. I mean, so, well, that being said, I don't mind. I guess I grew up differently, and I grew up, life is life, You got to do what you have to do. We all get old, and you want to be around with somebody who doesn't mind handling things of life nature. I mean, we all go through it. I know it's going to sound gross, but yeah, we all fart. We all go to the bathroom. I mean, it's nature. It's just like dealing with everything else. And especially with the animals, like I deal with the horses. It's all human nature. It's all nature. And people just don't understand that it's just life. It's a part of life. And if you can't hack life, then, get out the kitchen. I mean, if we don't have these type of people in our lives that don't mind doing these things, then where will life take us? If you really think about it, it's like a big circle of life. If we don't have people who don't mind burying people, or embalming people, like working funeral homes, or people who don't mind dealing with hazardous waste, or people who don't mind working at the water factories or the butcher shops and stuff. What kind of production will we have if people just like want to do the clean stuff all the time, and oh, I'd rather just work in a retail, or I'd rather just work in a supermarket or something. I mean, that's all great and dandy, but you got to understand, where does all our clothes come from? Animals. Where does all our food come from? Animals. How do we get it on our table? Butchers. How do we get our fabric? Well, someone's got to shear the sheep to get it, right? Someone's got to press out to make that wool, to make that clothing for us, to order. We wouldn't have fashion if we didn't have people who worked on the farms and stuff, because we have to get our clothing line from somewhere. Cotton, picking cotton and stuff, like, we had to get cotton. That's why most of this is probably made of cotton. I mean, if you look at your clothes, I mean, you have to understand, people have to do the dirty work in order for us to get those other grand jobs that everybody makes buku money off of. But really, the people who should be making the buku money are the ones who are actually doing the hardest part of the labor. Because if it wasn't for them, hey, you wouldn't be a fashion designer, you wouldn't be a famous singer or actor. You got to understand music. I mean, music doesn't come from food or anything, but you have to understand that if we're not healthy, how are you going to sing? Think about it. If you don't eat right, if you don't have that food to produce the water that you drink, how are you going to sing? You're going to be too weak to sing. You won't be able to. So you have to think that everything comes in a circle. So, that being said, I'm going to get off. I'm just lying here. I had like a couple people come on and come off, but it's whatever. They'll look at it later on, I'm sure. Like I said, I'm not into this liking and subscribing, but if you want to, go ahead. I'm gonna make more laid back, relaxed talks like this to help people kind of find their career a little bit, I guess. I think the more people out there who talk about certain things that make sense, I think that can help a lot of other people seek on what they can find. It's amazing what you find on YouTube. Really, it is. It's amazing what people put up, too. Some of them are just little out there, but you know. All right, well, signing off. Have a good day, people.